The journey to the Resch Center begins right now as we reveal the WIAA Girls Basketball State Tournament brackets. Find out where your team is seated and your path to Green Bay. Hello, I'm Karley Marotta, alongside WISP Sports Girls Basketball writer Norbert Durst and Dominican Varsity Girls Basketball assistant coach Daisha Smith-Jenkins. Thank you both for being here.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, thanks for being here. This is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get right into this 1-hour bracket reveal show. Let's dive right in and start off in Division 1. In Sectional 1, earning the top seed is the Big Rivers Conference champions of Eau Claire Memorial. They will meet the winner of Chippewa Falls and Oshkosh North. For the 8-9 matchup, Holman will meet Marshfield. On the other side, Neenah earning the 5 seed and taking on 12-seeded Appleton North. And 13-seeded Wausau West will face the 4-seed Hudson. Continuing with Sectional 1, Hortonville is the 3 seed and will face Wisconsin Rapids Lincoln in its first playoff matchup. Oshkosh West is the 11 seed and will take on Appleton East, who is the 6 seed. On the other side for the 7-10 matchup, it's Eau Claire North taking on Superior. And then 15-seeded DC Everest meeting the 18 seed Appleton West. The winner takes on the number 2 seed Stevens Point. All right, let's come back out. Just looking at that first sectional in Division 1, is there any team for either of you that stands out that you think could make a playoff run?
Well, for me, it's Hortonville.
Okay.
They play in a tough conference, and they've had some injury issues this year. But if Rainey Wellison could get back healthy, along with Carden Pepler, they definitely have a shot to get to the Resch Center.
I agree. It's Hortonville. I mean, You get hot at the right time, and you got the players coming back. I think they're gearing up for March Madness, and I'm looking out. They're my team to watch.
All right, we'll see what Hortonville can do. We continue with the Division 1 brackets, now revealing the Sectional 2 teams. The number 1 overall seed goes to the defending Division 2 champions of Pewaukee, who moved up a division. They will take on the winner of Fond du Lac and Divine Savior Holy Angels. And then for the 8-9 matchup, Bayport is the 8 seed facing 9-seeded Germantown. On the other side, the 5 seed goes to De Pere. They will face 12-seeded Manitowoc Lincoln. Brookfield East earning the 4 seed facing 13-seeded Hamilton. Let's keep it going. The 3 seed is Hartford Union, and they match up against 14-seeded Kaukauna. Then it's 6-seeded Homestead meeting 11-seeded Menominee Falls. On the other side, Notre Dame, a team very familiar with the state tournament stage, with the 7 seed meeting 10-seeded Green Bay Preble. Sheboygan North and Waukesha North South will play for the opportunity to face 2-seeded Kimberly. Now, this is a tough sectional featuring 4 of the top 5 teams in the Division 1 rankings. The reigning Division 2 champions of Pewaukee moved up a division this season to Division 1. I had the chance to catch up with Pewaukee head coach Jim Reuter about what's different about this year's team in comparison to last year.
We've had to develop and evolve and change our processes quite a bit. Well, the injury bug has been pretty big for us, and it's certainly been challenging.
Your team has obviously moved up a division. Are they excited to take on this postseason in Division 1?
Yeah, they're looking forward to it. We're certainly done no favors with the sectional we were put in here. I think there's like 6 of the top 10 the last coaches poll are in our sectional. So, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a gauntlet there. They're excited about it at the same time. They like the challenges. They like to push themselves. They look forward to those kinds of things. And, we've seen those teams a lot, and it's going to come down, I think, really to, who plays well on those days, who's the best player on those days, who can execute their game plan on those days. And, I hope it's us.
All right, thanks for the time, Coach. I also want to talk about Kimberly, the Fox Valley Association champions. Their one loss this season coming to Pewaukee. As we take a look at their win over Hortonville, Norb, tell me why you think Kimberly could make a run.
Well, for one, they played a lot of very good teams, and I think, number one, that's something you have to do in order to win in the postseason. And, they got some good seniors. Caitlin McGinnis leading the way for them. The question for them is is Reagan Krieger going to play? Okay. They also have some very good sophomores on that team, led by Ava Van Vandren, and that's why, but it's a tough sectional, so it's going to be a gauntlet, as Coach mentioned there in that preview there.
All right, thank you. We need to take a quick timeout, but when we come back, we will continue to reveal the Division 1 girls basketball bracket. And later in the show, we will be joined by Albany Monticello head coach Derek Dasher. Stay with us. Welcome back as we continue to reveal the WIAA Girls Basketball State Tournament brackets. We continue with Division I sectionals 3 and 4. The number 1 overall seed goes to the defending Division I champions of Arrowhead. They will meet the winner of Janesville Parker and Janesville Craig. Now to the 8-9 matchup, McGuanago, the 8 seed, facing Madison La Follette, the 9 seed. On the other side, Madison Memorial is the 5 seed and will meet 12-seeded Middleton. And Verona, the 4 seed, they will take on 13-seeded Watertown. Continuing on, Oregon, the 3 seed, will be up against 14-seeded Sun Prairie East. Sun Prairie West, earning the 11th seed, they will face 6-seeded Kettle Moraine. On the other side, for the 7-10 matchup, it's Oconomowoc as the 7 seed, taking on 10-seeded Beloit Memorial. Madison East and Madison West will face each other, and the winner of that game will meet the number 2 seed in Waunakee. All right, let's talk more about Arrowhead, the defending Division I champions, taking down Neenah in last year's title game. Daisha, what can you tell me about this year's team?
Arrowhead is a well-oiled machine. I mean, everyone knows their roles. It's 5 girls playing as one. And, of course, they have that superstar and that junior, Natalie Cuso, who's averaging about 25 points. Most of those girls from that state team last year are returning, so I think they're hungry for more. Why not go back-to-back? What do you think, Norb?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, I think it's a lot of just the other pieces for them. Can they get enough and maybe defensively, figure things out a little bit more? Because at times this year, maybe that's been a little bit of their issue. But, again, Natalie Cuso, very outstanding player. Bella Sams is also very good for them. I mean, again, they got a lot of very good players, and it's just a matter of going out there and showing everybody what they can do again.
All right, a lot of potential for Arrowhead, and Arrowhead defeated Verona in last year's sectional final. Norb, can you see a rematch from these two teams this year, and can Verona possibly get their revenge?
Well, I think there's a possibility of that rematch. I think it's going to be a very tall task for Verona. I think that team is much different than they were last year. The record may be similar, a couple less losses, but, the conference in the Big H just isn't that strong, to be honest, and they didn't play the teams in the non-conference they played last year, so I think it most likely would be Waunakee probably to get through there, but Verona knows how to win, and teams that know how to win, even though maybe you look at them on paper, they're not quite as good, they find a way sometimes.
All right, let's wrap up Division I with the final sectional. The number 1 seed goes to Muskego. They played Arrowhead tight this year, splitting the 2 meetings. They will face the winner of West Alice Hill and West Alice Central. For the 8-9 matchup, St. John's earns the 8 seed. They will take on 9-seeded Racine Case. On the other side, 5-seeded Badger will face 12-seeded Kenosha Tremper. And then it's Oak Creek with the 4 seed. They will match up against Milwaukee Reagan, the 13 seed. Milwaukee Bradley Tech and Arts receiving the 3rd seed. They will have the opportunity to meet 14-seeded Franklin. Milwaukee King is the 11th seed. They'll take on 6-seeded Westosha Central. On the other side, Milwaukee Hamilton Audubon, the 7th seed, meeting 10-seeded Kenosha Indian Trail. Milwaukee Riverside and Racine Horlick will go head-to-head. The winner will have the chance to try and upset 2-seeded Kenosha Bradford. When we come back, we dive into the Division II bracket and hear from Edgewood head coach Laura Stavanis. Welcome back to the WIAA Girls Basketball State Tournament Bracket Reveal Show. We've got 1 division down, 4 more to go. Let's keep it rolling right into Division II, starting with Sectional 1. The number 1 overall seed, that goes to Rice Lake, members of the Big Rivers Conference. They will face the winner of Merrill and New Richmond for their first-round matchup. Rhinelander earning the number 5 seed. They will take on 4-seeded Menominee. On the other side, the 3 seed goes to Mosinee. They will face the winner of 11-seeded Wausau East and 6-seeded Medford. For the 7-10 matchup, it's River Falls, the 7 seed, taking on Ashland. The winner of that game will face 2-seeded Lakeland. Another number 1 seed is out. That is Shawano. They will face the winner of Antigo and Green Bay East. And then in the 4-5 matchup, Wapaka receiving the 4 seed and taking on 5-seeded Fox Valley Lutheran. On the other side, Luxembourg Casco is the 3 seed. They will face 6-seeded Pulaski. In the 7-10 meeting, New London taking on 10-seeded Green Bay Southwest. The winner of that matchup will face 2-seeded Marinette. Let's take a minute to talk about Rice Lake, a top 10 team in Division II, looking for their first state title. Norb, What do you like about Rice Lake?
Well, they play in the Big Rivers Conference,
Okay.
so they play bigger schools usually, and they do play a pretty good non-conference schedule. One of those wins is against Lakeland, who's also in that sectional, and they have a superstar in Adeline Schefter for them. You know, a ton of Division I offers for her, and also Addison Schmidt for them, a forward. So I think when you have two players that can do some damage, that's going to help them, and I think they do have maybe a little edge over Lakeland, because 2 dogs versus 1 star with what Lakeland have is in the We Met Girl.
Okay, now we'll go to Sectional 2. Beaver Dam, members of the Badger Large Conference, receiving the number 1 seed. They will face the winner of 9-seeded Slinger and 8-seeded West Bend West in the first round. For the 4-5 meeting, 4-seeded Ashwaubenon will take on 5-seeded Menasha. On the other side, the 3 seed goes to Waupun. They will take on the winner of 11-seed West Bend East and 6th seed Port Washington. In the 7-10 meeting, it's Plymouth, the 7th seed, facing Sheboygan South. And the winner of that game has the chance to play 2-seeded West Appear. Continuing on, the number 1 seed goes to New Berlin Eisenhower, members of the Woodland West Conference. For their first matchup, they will face the winner of 9-seeded Wauwatosa East and 8-seeded Brookfield Central. Milwaukee Lutheran is the 5 seed, facing 14 seed Milwaukee Vincent. On the other side, Waukesha West, the number 3 seed, they will meet 6-seeded Grafton. New Berlin West, the 7 seed, matching up against 2-seeded Cedarburg. Continuing to Sectional 3, West Salem closing in on the Cooley Conference crown. They are the number 1 seed. West Salem will take on the winner of Toma and La Crosse Logan. Now for the 4-5 matchup on Alaska as the 4 seed, they will meet 5-seeded Sauk Prairie. On the other side, to Forest, the number 3 seed, they will take on the winner of 11-seeded Baraboo and 6-seeded Sparta. In the 7-10 matchup, it's Reedsburg, the 7 seed, facing 10-seeded Portage, and the winner of that game will take on 2-seeded La Crosse Central. The number 1 seed here going to the defending Division III champions of Edgewood, who moved up a division this year. They will take on the winner of 9-seeded Jefferson and 8-seeded Fort Atkinson. The number 5 seed is Delavan Darien, meeting the number 4 seed Monona Grove. On the other side, it's 3-seeded Stoughton. Awaiting their opponent, they will take on the winner of 11-seed Monroe and 6-seeded Elkhorn. Mount Horeb, the 7 seed, facing 10-seeded McFarland, and the winner of that game will take on 2-seeded Milton. The top-ranked team in Division II and the defending Division III state champions of Edgewood had another phenomenal season, capturing the Badger Small Conference crown. I asked Crusaders head coach Laura Stavanis if repeating at state has been on their mind this season.
I think we talk about repeats. I think it's a new team. We've talked about that and being on a new journey. And obviously we're in Division II, which, has its own challenges, not knowing the teams nearly as well. But we've embraced the challenge of just, trying to be as good as we can be. It doesn't always happen, but, we've fared well thus far. And we know that there's some really great teams out there. In our own sectional and then past that. And so, we're just trying to get better.
And before we continue, Daisha, I want to get your thoughts on Edgewood as they look to make another state title run.
Coach was being so humble.
She always is.
Edgewood is
That's
the
Coach
hottest team in Wisconsin right now. They haven't lost since November, so winning is contagious, right? When you win a couple games, like, want to keep this thing going. Then when you start winning 20-plus games, it's like, we want to see the finish line here. Everyone knows their position and role on the team. Of course, they have Anna Miller, who's their leading scorer, but all the other girls in the supporting cast will buy in. You never know who's going to be hot that night, and that's what I love about this team.
Yeah, definitely. And to go off of what you said there, and they haven't had Anna Miller for a couple games because of illness, and they went out and beat Laconia in overtime without her. So I think it just shows sometimes when you're forced to have depth in the season, it helps you out for the postseason, and I think that's one of those prizes there. And Beanie Thompson missed a few games with injury too, and I think, again, that's going to help them going down the stretch as long as everyone's healthy. A
lot of depth on that Edgewood team. Let's wrap up Division II with the final sectional. Wauwatosa East, members of the Greater Metro Conference, the number 1 seed. They will face Nicolay, the number 8 seed. The number 5 seed going to Golda Meir. They will take on 4-seeded Wisconsin Lutheran. On the other side, it's 3-seeded Pius Catholic meeting 6-seeded Shorewood. The number 2 seed goes to Whitefish Bay. They will take on the 7 seed and St. Augustine Prep Academy. To wrap up Division II, the champions of the Southern Lakes Conference, Union Grove is the number 1 overall seed. They will take on the winner of the 8-9 matchup, 8-seeded Waterford and 9-seeded Cudahy. On the other side, Greenfield is the 3 seed. They will meet the winner of 11-seeded South Milwaukee and 6-seeded Martin Luther. And then at 7-seeded Racine Park, they will meet 10-seeded Wilmount Union. The winner of that game has the opportunity to face off against number 2 Whitnall. Now looking at that final sectional, it's loaded with ranked teams in Division 2. Who do you guys think has the best chance of making it out of that sectional?
Whew, that sectional was tough.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm going with Wauwatosa East.
Okay.
I think they have the edge there, but, Whitefish Bay's been playing some very good basketball.
Yeah.
They beat Homestead both times they played them this season, and they're really showing that they can do some damage. And you can't forget about Pius and Wisco either. So, I mean, there's a lot of very good teams that could come out of that sectional.
What stands out about Whitefish Bay is the point guard who makes them go.
Okay.
Council. I mean, she's quick, she's shifty, you don't know how to guard, and then she'll dive on the floor for loose balls. So I think they're sneaky good. Of course, Pius is well coached. You've got Scott Herrick, who's won a gold ball before. So I think some interesting things have potential to happen.
All right, you guys are making me excited. Coming up, we continue our WIAA Girls Basketball Reveal Show with Division 3. Stick with us. Welcome back to the WIAA Girls Basketball State Tournament Bracket Reveal Show. We keep it rolling with Division 3 and starting in Sectional 1. The number 1 seed goes to Baldwin Woodville, members of the Middle Border Conference. They will wait and face the winner of 9-seeded Barron and 8-seeded Hayward. The 5 seed goes to Northwestern. They will meet 12-seeded Spooner. The winner of that game will face the 4 seed in Prescott. On the other side, 3-seeded Amory receives the bye. They will wait and face the winner of 11-seeded Ellsworth and 6-seeded Somerset. The number 7 seed is Osceola. They will meet 10-seeded St. Croix Falls, and the winner of that matchup will meet 2-seeded St. Croix Central. Another number 1 seed is out. That is the Dunn St. Croix champs of Elkmount. They will wait and face the winner of the 8-seed Stanley Boyd and 9-seed Viroqua. And then the 4 seed goes to Bloomer, who will meet 5-seeded Arcadia. On the other side, Mauston, the 3 seed, will face the winner of number 11 Gil Ettrick Trempolo and 6-seed Altoona. For the 7-10 meeting, Adams Friendship is the 7 seed taking on Black River Falls, and the winner will meet 2-seeded Wisconsin Dells. Well, Elkmount is one of the top teams in Sectional 1. The Mounders were 1 win away from state last year. They're hoping to take the next step. Our Nick Tabbert caught up with Mounders head coach Jordan Kongshog.
For the 3rd year in a row, Elkmount is the Dunn St. Croix Conference champion. I'm joined by Mounders head coach Jordan Kongshog. Coach, you've had some really special teams the last few seasons. What are the strengths of this group this year?
Well, this group is a very unselfish group. They pass the ball well, they get along, they care for one another, they play for one another, and they work really hard on the defense end. And so I'm just real proud of the season we've had so far, and we're looking forward to the tournament.
What's going to be the key for you to make a deep postseason run?
The biggest thing always for us is our ability to defend. Some nights shots don't go in, and that's just the way it is, but if you continue to guard, you have a chance. Every game's intense. Every game is a battle. Every game, there's going to be some nerves, and I think the teams that are able to manage those emotions are the teams that usually do well in the tournament, and we've had some experience playing some big games, and I'm hoping that will help us as we get ready to go here.
Coach, we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll see you at state this year.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Nick. Thank you, Coach. Let's get to Sectional 2 in Division 3. The number 1 seed is Wittenberg-Burnham Wood. They are the champs of the Central Wisconsin East Conference. They will take on the winner of the 8-9 matchup between Peshtigo and Oconto Falls. The 5 seed goes to Wrightstown. They will meet 12-seeded Clintonville, and the winner will face 4-seeded Seymour. On the other side, the 3 seed is Menominee Indian. They will take on the winner of 11-seeded Sturgeon Bay and 6-seeded Tomahawk. The 7 seed goes to Amherst. They will face 10-seeded Northland Pines, and the winner of that meeting meets 2-seeded Freedom. Time for another number 1 seed. That goes to Winneconne, members of the East Central Conference. They will meet the winner of this 8-9 matchup between Two Rivers and Ripon. Chilton is the 5 seed. They will take on 12-seeded New Holstein. And the winner of that meeting will face off against 4-seeded Kiel. On the other side, Amro is the 3 seed. They will wait to face the winner of 11-seeded Watoma and 6-seeded Denmark. The 7 seed is Berlin. They will meet 10-seeded Little Chute, and the winner of that game will take on 2-seeded Xavier. The number 1 seed goes to Edgerton, members of the Rock Valley Rock Division. They will meet the winner of this 8-9 matchup between Evansville and Bigfoot. To the 4-5 matchup, it's number 4 Turner taking on 5-seeded Lodi. On the other side, Prairie du Chien is the 3 seed. They will wait to face the winner of River Valley and Dodgeville in the 6-10 meeting. The 7 seed goes to Broadhead. They will match up against 10-seeded Richland Center, and the winner will face number 2 Platteville. The defending Division 4 champions of Laconia receiving the number 1 seed in Division 3 this year. They will wait and face the winner of this 8-9 matchup between Winnebago Lutheran and Mayville. Then it's 5-seeded Lakeside Lutheran up against 12-seeded Campbell Sport. The winner takes on 4-seeded Lake Country Lutheran. On the other side, number 3 Watertown Luther Prep facing the winner of 11-seeded Lake Mills and 6-seeded Columbus. The 7th seed goes to North Fond du Lac. They will take on 10th-seeded Whitewater, and the winner meets East Troy, who is the 2 seed. Let's talk more about Laconia, the back-to-back Division 4 champions moving up a division this season, ranked 3rd overall. Daisha, why do you think this team could three-peat potentially?
Well, because they've done it twice already, right? So they have the experience. They're well coached. They play a tough schedule, but let's talk about the 4 girls that are scoring in double digits. Anytime you have girls scoring in double digits, it opens up the offense, and you know about these girls personally. I mean, they could put that ball on the rim.
Oh, definitely, and they're unselfish, the way the ball moves around the offense, especially when they're moving it well. You know, Tierney Madigan, a great wing for them, and then Finley Morgan, you know, that sophomore stud, Peyton Morgan, her sister, and then Aubrey Leonard. You know, talk about all 4 of them, like, they're the reason why, especially last season into this season, where they're at. And, you know, they're going to make a good run for sure again this season because those 4, along with the rest of the team, they know how to play, and it's going to be exciting to see.
It'd be special to show you can do it in both divisions.
Definitely.
Too, right?
Absolutely.
All right, let's keep it going. Number 1 seeded Kettle Moraine Lutheran is closing in on an East Central Conference championship. They will wait and face the winner of the 8-9 meeting between Brookfield Academy and Carmen Northwest. Brown Deer is the 5 seed. They will face 4-seeded Dominican. On the other side, Sheboygan Falls is the number 3 seed. They will wait and take on the winner of 11 seed Hmong American Peace and 6 seed Fuller Collegiate Academy. The 7th seed is Milwaukee School of Languages taking on 10-seeded Kewaskum. The winner will meet number 2-seeded Oostburg. The final number 1 seed goes to Catholic Memorial. Members of the Classic 8 Conference, they will face the winner of 8-seeded St. Francis and 9-seeded Shoreland Lutheran. The 5 seed goes to Mesmer, and they will take on 4-seeded Racine St. Catherine's. The number 3 seed is St. Thomas More. They will take on 6-seeded Cristo Rey Jesuit. The 7th seed goes to St. Anthony. They will meet Racine Lutheran, who is the 10th seed. And the winner of that game faces number 2, Milwaukee Academy of Science. With Division 3 in the books, when you both look at the top 2 teams, in Oostburg and Kettle Moraine Lutheran in this final sectional, it's a tough one. What stands out about those 2 teams?
Extremely tough. A word stands out to me, and that's hunger.
Okay.
So last year, Oostburg had an early upset exit, and I think that game has stuck with them. I think all summer, and you've seen all season, they've been playing hard every game. Of course, they have that stud of a freshman who's balling out.
Kinsley Ketterhagen.
Yeah.
Younger sister to Addie and Riley, and that's what makes them so tough. And, you know, they've won, 21 or at least 20 straight games.
Wow.
They lost the first game of the year, and that was against Laconia.
Okay.
And they didn't have Riley in that game, so that's going to factor in a little bit. But, you know, KML is playing outstanding. They're beating some big teams, I mean, and Mackenzie Larian for them, I mean, she's doing it all.
Okay.
And, you know, if a team can slow her down a little bit, it's going to be a lot easier to beat them. But her little sister playing on that team helps them a little bit, and I think it just adds a little more scoring depth for them. And, you know, they're going to be a tough team to beat because Madeline Leffel is a really good three-point shooter. So they're a solid team, and, again, well-coached. They play hard defense.
I wouldn't count out Catholic Memorial and Milwaukee Academy of Science.
Okay.
I think they're gonna fight. They're gonna fight hard. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, because Catholic Memorial has a win over Arrowhead this year, so that shows that they can beat teams. And Milwaukee Academy of Science, even in games they lose, they find a way to fight back. It's just, can they play the long enough game and play consistently throughout the game? And that's been their issue.
And fun hearing your team called.
Always fun. Anything can happen in March Madness.
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
A little bit of March Madness magic. So whoever shows up, you put the shoes on the same. We'll see who plays hard and goes away with the win.
All right, that's why it's the best time of the year. Coming up, we continue our reveal show with the Division 4 brackets. That's next. Welcome back to the WIAA Girls Basketball State Tournament Bracket Reveal Show. We're over halfway through revealing the matchups for the playoffs. We're turning our attention now to Division 4. It promises to be an exciting one. Tipping off with Sectional 1, Shell Lake, members of the Lakeland West Conference, earning the number 1 seed. They will wait to take on the winner of the 8-9 meeting between Grantsburg and Boyceville. The 5 seed is Clear Lake. They will meet 12-seeded Cumberland. The winner will face number 4-seeded Colfax. On the other side, 3-seeded Fall Creek will wait to face the winner of the 6-11 matchup between 6-seeded Regis and 11-seed Unity. Mondovi, the 7th seed, taking on 10-seeded Glenwood City. The winner meets 2-seeded Durand, Arkansas. Moving to the other half of the sectional, the number 1 seed is Cameron, members of the Hart North Conference. They will wait to face the winner of this 8-9 matchup between Hurley and Chautauqua Weyerhaeuser. In the 5-12 meeting, it's 5-seeded Ladysmith facing 12-seeded Chequamegon. And the winner of that meeting will face 4-seeded Phillips. On the other side, it's 3-seeded Marathon receiving the bye. They will wait to meet up against the winner of 6-seeded Cadott and 11-seeded Abbotsford. For the 7-10 matchup, it's Edgar against Colby. They will take on 2-seeded, the winner of that will take on 2-seeded McDonald Central Catholic. Another number 1 seed goes to St. Mary Catholic. Members of the Big East North Conference, they will meet the winner of the 8-9 meeting between Coleman and Manawa. The number 5 seed is Oconto, and they will face 12-seeded Shiocton. The winner will take on number 4-seeded Crandon. On the other side, 3-seeded Auburndale receives the bye. They will face the winner of 6-seeded Crivets and 11-seeded Marion Tigerton. The 7th seed goes to WIAA Fremont. They will take on 10-seeded Iola Scandinavia. The winner of that game takes on 2-seeded Bonduel. Another number 1 seed is out. That's Manitowoc Lutheran, another team in the Big East North Conference. They will take on the winner of the 8-9 between Kohler and Howard's Grove. The 5 seed is Brilliant, going head-to-head with 12-seeded Southern Door. The winner will face 4-seeded St. Mary Springs. On the other side, it's 3-seeded Valders waiting to face the winner of 6-seeded Algoma and 11th-seeded Mishicot. The 7th seed goes to Cedar Grove, Belgium. They will take on 10-seeded Roncalli. The winner meets 2-seeded Kewanee. All right, let's talk about Manitowoc Lutheran and St. Mary Catholic. They split the regular season meetings. Norb, is there a potential for a rematch, and can you give a little preview of maybe what that could look like?
Yeah, I think there's definitely potential,
Okay.
them splitting games. I just got a chance to see Manitowoc Lutheran, and maybe that's where I maybe give the edge to St. Mary Catholic here,
Okay.
because I think they've been playing really good basketball and maybe played a few better teams as well, led by Emily Vogel. They also have a Hall of Fame coach there too, so that's going to help them out. But, I think Manitowoc Lutheran just needs to turn you over quite a bit in order to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't also sleep on Kewanee here either, because they haven't played maybe the same level of teams, but they're another Hall of Fame coach there, and they've won a lot of games, and you can't dismiss those teams.
All right, let's keep it going. Neilsville receives the number 1 seed, the winners of the Clover Belt East Conference. They will take on the winner of the 8-9 meeting between Necedah and Spencer. In the 5-12 matchup, it's Luther, the 5 seed, taking on Osseo Fairchild. They will face the 4 seed. The winner of that, will face the 4 seed Stratford. On the other side, it's 3-seeded Bangor. They will wait to face the winner of 6-seeded Whitehall and 11th-seeded Nakusa. And then the 7th seed goes to Melrose Mindora. They will meet 10-seeded Augusta. The winner of that game will take on 2-seeded Aquinas. Cuba City receiving the number 1 seed, members of the SWAL Conference. They will meet the winner of the 8-9 matchup between Riverdale and Parkview. The 5 seed is Lancaster taking on 12-seeded Iowa Grant. The winner meets 4-seeded Mineral Point. On the other side, the 3-seed Belleville, they'll wait to meet the winner of 6-seeded Darlington and 11-seeded Westby. New Glarus is the 7th seed. They will face 10-seeded Fenimore, and the winner of that game will meet 2-seeded Argyle Pecatonica. Let's talk more about Cuba City. They took home silver in last year's title game, falling to Laconia. What do you both like about Cuba City and their path this year, starting with you?
Well, Cuba City is a storied program.
Yeah.
They've won before, so they know what it takes to win. And you mentioned something key. Laconia is out the way.
Yeah.
So now I think that hunger is back. We want to get back up there. We want to win this thing.
Yeah, definitely. And, they play really good teams, too. And we talk about that injury bug, how it can sometimes maybe help you. Olivia Olson missed the first part of the season. She just returned from an ACL injury. And if she's at or near 100%, that team is going to be very tough to beat because they were right there with Laconia last year. And so they're definitely hungry to raise that gold ball this year for sure.
All right, excited to see what Cuba City can do. Now to a team that is familiar with the Rush Center, Aquinas. The Blue Golds are 5th in Division IV standings, and our Scott Emmerich caught up with Aquinas head coach Dave Donarski.
Well, you never know it, but Aquinas actually lost 3 games way back in November, but they've been on an absolute tear since. Dave Donarski joining me right now. And Dave, what's been the difference? How has you seen your team grow throughout the year?
Yeah, I just think our leadership has really kind of taken, hold with our seniors, trying to get our kids rallied around it. And I was impressed with us, the way we had handled that adversity early on and just kind of trying to get better every day.
Tournament time is always special. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, but, you're getting ready for all these teams that you could see. And the kids are excited because there's really a buzz around the school as you get closer to the postseason. So, yeah, can't wait.
Aquinas has been to state 6 times in school history, all with this guy leading the way. Back to you.
Yeah, Prairie School should be mentioned at some point.
Yeah.
Well, rounding out Division IV with the final sectional, Partyville is the #1 seed. They will face the winner of the 8-9 meeting between Horicon and Marshall. 5-seeded Marquesan will take on 12-seeded Waterloo, and the winner meets 4-seeded Lone Myra. On the other side, 3-seeded Westfield will meet the winner of 11-seeded Montello and 6-seeded Living Word Lutheran. The 7-10 meeting, that's Dodgeland and Random Lake. The winner takes on 2-seeded Poynette. The top seed goes to Prairie School. They will meet the winner of 8-seeded Heritage Christian and 9-seeded Clinton. The 5 seed is Salam and 4-seeded Abundant Life St. Ambrose. On the other side is 3-seed Cambridge and 6-seed Kenosha St. Joseph. As for the 7-10 matchup, University Lake School St. John's Northwest Academy. They take on 10-seeded Milwaukee Juneau, and the winner faces 2-seeded Deerfield. We've got one more division to go, the brackets for Division 5. Those are coming up next. Welcome back to the WIAA Girls Basketball State Tournament Bracket Reveal Show. We have one division left already. It's going so fast. Let's take a look at Division 5 and tell you how each team will begin their road to the Rush Center. Starting with top seed in Solon Springs, they will meet the winner of Turtle Lake and Northwood. As for the 5-12 matchup, it's 5-seeded Siren taking on 12-seeded Luck. Clayton is the 4-seed, matching up against 13-seeded Birchwood. On the other side, 3-seed New Auburn up against 14-seeded Frederick. 6-seeded Eau Claire Emmanuel Lutheran will meet 11-seeded Bruce. To the 7-10 matchup, it's 7-seeded Spring Valley against Prairie Farm. And then Webster, the #2 seed, they will meet La Coudray. Another #1 seed is Owen Withee. They will take on Bayfield in the first round. And then 8-seeded Prentice meeting 9-seeded Butternut. Gilman, the 5 seed, they will take on 12-seeded Lake Holcomb. 4 seed goes to Washburn. They will meet 13-seeded Cornell. On the other side, Winter is the 3 seed taking on 14-seeded Mercer. The 6 seed is Rib Lake meeting Flambeau. In the 7-10 matchup, it's Mellon and Drummond. Southside is the #2 seed. They will face Thorpe. Looking at that first sectional for both of you, is there a team that you think could make a run?
Well, I think it's Webster in Sectional 1. I think they play better teams, I think, in that Lakeland Conference. And, but it is a very open sectional in division in that Sectional 1 for sure because, everyone used to have to deal with the McDonald Central, but now that they're in Division 4, it really opened the door for a lot of those other teams to have a chance.
I agree. It's wide open. It's going to be very fun to watch. So I'll be tuned in for Division 5 for sure.
We love when anything can happen. All right, let's keep going. Assumption, receiving the #1 overall seed. They will meet the winner of Loyal and Northland Lutheran, who will play in the 8-9 matchup. Greenwood is the 5 seed, taking on 12-seeded Newman Catholic. Almond Bancroft, the 4 seed, facing off against 13th seeded Athens. On the other side, Pittsville is the 3 seed, meeting 14th seeded Elko. Columbus Catholic, 6th seed. They will take on 11th seeded, Tripp County is the Tri-County, sorry about that. Thank you, Norb. Appreciate you. Tri-County. 7th seed 3 Lakes Phelps matching up against Rothschild. And number 2 seed is Pacelli, meeting 15 seeded Port Edwards. Lena, number 1 seed overall. They will take on the winner of Surin and NEW Lutheran Providence in the 8-9 matchup. 5 seeded Niagara meeting 12 seeded Gibraltar. 4 seeded Oneida Nation up against 13th seeded Bowler. 3 seeded Sevastopol against 14th seeded Waukesha. Wabena Leona is a 6th seed, meeting up against 11th seeded St. Thomas Aquinas. Gresham, the 10th seed, they will face off against 7th seeded Florence. The winner will meet the 2 seed in Gillett. Assumption is the top team in Division 5. Our Keegan Hewitt caught up with their head coach, Ryan Klein, on what has been a fantastic season.
I'm here at Assumption High School with head girls basketball coach Ryan Klein. Ryan, another top seed for this group year after year. What has went into the success this season, and what ultimately gives you guys a prime spot to race for the Resch?
I think the girls had great humility this year. They realized at the beginning of the season that we had a lot of work to do, and they've been continuing to put the work in.
These handful of seniors now have eclipsed 20 wins all 4 varsity seasons in this program. What can you say about what they have done to propel this and where they're going to leave it after this season?
I guess all I can say to that is I'm going to miss them.
What is it going to take to turn these expectations now of a top seed in this playoff bracket to eventually turn it into a trip to the Resch?
You know, a lot of the little things, it doesn't just go into the girls on the floor, the support of the coaches and the players that are sitting on the bench, the families. All that stuff goes into being successful down the stretch. So a lot of prayers and some luck would be nice.
All righty, best of luck, Coach Karley. We'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Keegan. Thank you, Coach. Let's keep it going in Sectional 3. Independence Gilmanton is the 1 seed. They will take on the winner of Alma Pepin and New Lisbon in the 8-9. Cashton, the 5 seed, meeting Waniwak Center. Blair Taylor earns the 4 seed, facing off against Alma Center Lincoln. On the other side, Kickapoo is the 3rd seed. They will take on Plum City Elmwood. Cochrane Fountain City and Brookwood going up against each other in the 6-11 meeting. In the 7-10 matchup, it's Hillsborough and Royal. Oliva Strom, the 2 seed, taking on Lafarge Youth Initiative. Barneveld is the number 1 seed. They will face the winner of Potosi Cassville and DeSoto. Blackhawk is the number 5 seed, taking on Southwestern. Belmont is a 4 seed, facing 13th seeded Boscobel. On the other side, Wazeeka Steuben is a 3 seed, facing Seneca. In the 6-11 meeting, it's River Ridge and North Crawford. And then Ithaca, the 7 seed, facing Highland. Schellsburg earns the 2 seed. They will face off against Benton. Sheboygan Lutheran is the 1 seed. They will meet Rio. Then it's the 8-9 meeting, Valley Christian and Elkhart Lake, Glen Beulah. Fall River is the 5 seed, meeting Cambria Friesland. Wild Rose is the 4 seed, facing off against Sheboygan Christian. On the other side is 3-seeded Oakfield against Stockbridge. Central Wisconsin Christ is the 6 seed, facing Reedsville. In the 7-10, it's Randolph against Princeton Green Lake. Lourdes Academy is the 2 seed against Hilbert. Finally, in the D5 bracket, here we go. Albany Monticello, the 1 seed, meeting the winner of Ozaki and Wisconsin Heights. In the 5-12 matchup, Catholic Central taking on Wayland Academy. Palmyra Eagle earned the 4 seed, going head-to-head with Judah. On the other side, Faith Christian is the 3 seed. They will face off against Williams Bay and Johnson Creek, who will meet in the 6-11 game. Kenosha Christian Life is the 7 seed, meeting Madison County Day, and awaiting the winner of that is the 2 seed Chesterton Academy. I am now so pleased to be joined by Albany Monticello head coach Derek Dasher. You just heard your team is a 1 seed, and you kind of saw your path to Green Bay a little bit. What are you thinking right now?
Well, you know, our program's built on humility and taking every game, every opponent the most serious we can. We're ecstatic to be a 1 seed. I know it sounds silly with 1 loss that you would expect that, but we don't expect things in our program. We set out to earn them. But our girls put in the work, they put in the time. They're defensive driven, and we're excited to be a 1 seed.
What else is special about your team?
Well, you know, I said this last year as well in the journey. We're not the most athletic and the best basketball players in the state of Wisconsin. But I can assure you, in our small schools, we have a bunch of girls that are just going to come out and outwork a lot of teams. And we're certainly not going to be outworked on any given night. So we pride ourselves on our defense, and our defense gets everything going. And if we shoot the ball well that night, we're going to be a hard team to beat. But, if you play defense, you're going to stay in a lot of ball games and have a good chance to win a lot of games.
You mentioned that, you pride yourself on being humble, but is the expectation kind of to repeat for your program?
We didn't talk about it one time last season, believe it or not. We didn't even win a conference championship last year. So we came home with a gold ball and finished second in the conference. Yeah. So we set our goals, but at the same time, we never talk about the state tournament. We take it every game. Like I said, every opponent is a new opportunity. But we don't feel that pressure. I told the girls day one at our parent meeting, we got to go out there, new identity, new team. We got to do the best that we can, and wherever the chips lie, we'll be proud of that. And, we're excited for the journey and see where it leads us.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for giving us a breakdown of your team, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
All right. Coming up, we'll take a look at this year's Miss Basketball finalists and get predictions for the state tournament. That's next.
Over 95 active auctions right now, like this 4-wheel drive pickup for $100 or this refrigerated semi-trailer. Okay, maybe not this week, but this John Deere Gator for $100, definitely. Make a bid, get a deal, don't miss out. WisconsinSurplus.com.
For breaking news, weather alerts, and daily updates, sign up to get top stories sent right to your inbox. Go to WKOW.com/emails to sign up. 27 News. We've got you covered.
Did you know there is no dental care for our veterans at the VA unless you are 100% disabled? Objective Veteran Smile is a nonprofit providing free dental care for our veterans, and they need our help. Sponsor a Wisconsin veteran today for just $25 a month. Click or scan to learn more now.
At Muir Roofing Construction, 99% of our residential roofs are done in a day and come with a lifetime shingle warranty as well as a 15-year craftsmanship warranty. Call me, Jim Muir, for roofing, siding, and gutters. And remember, as always, we do it right at any height.
Bumper damaged, paint chipped, dented or scratched car, cloudy headlights? Why live with it? Save up to 60% from traditional body shops to repair instead of replace. Big or small damage, smaller price. Visit Auto Color in Middleton or on Stoughton Road.
Have peace of mind on vacation, knowing your dog is enjoying their stay at the new Emerald Paw Pet Resort in a private luxury suite. Call or reserve online today to choose the suite size and amenities that best fit your furry companion. Our all-inclusive pricing includes bedtime biscuits, picture updates, and plenty of playtime with 3 outdoor yards for all sizes and styles of play. The Emerald Paw Pet Resort in Wanakee, where luxury meets love.
Hey, Tam Fam, this is our best season yet. Season 6, no one's doing daytime like us here in the Tam Fam. No one's daring to go there, and we go there. Would you like to tell me more? Cooking things up hot, bringing the style and fashion to you, connecting with big emotions, big smiles, and the biggest wow. This season is all about you. Let's get down to it.
Watch Tamron Hall, weekdays at 2, only on WKOW.
Over 95 active auctions right now, like this 4-wheel drive pickup for $100 or this refrigerated semi-trailer. Okay, maybe not this week, but this John Deere Gator for $100, definitely. Make a bid, get a deal, don't miss out. WisconsinSurplus.com.
Welcome back. Let's talk about some of the top players in the state who have been named finalists for Miss Basketball. 5 finalists from across Wisconsin this year, and the winner will be announced at the state tournament. All right, let's look at that. JJ Barnes, McKenna Christian, Christina Ouimet, Amy Tyrion, and Rainey Wilson. This is an award that's been out for a very long time, awarded to the most outstanding senior basketball player in the state. All right, we obviously have experts up here at the desk. We want to get both of your final predictions. Who will come out in each division at the state tournament this year? Norb, take it away with yours.
Yeah, I'm going to take Pewaukee in Division 1, Edgewood in Division 2, Oostburg in Division 3, the Prairie School in Division 4, and in Division 5, Sheboygan Lutheran.
All right, how about you, Daisha?
Division I, I've got Arrowhead for sure. Division II, I've got Edgewood. Division III, I've got Kettle Moraine Lutheran. Division IV, I have the Prairie School. Division V, and I'm ready to play for you, Coach, Albany Monticello.
He is such a great guy. Anything else you guys want to add about any of these teams that you have up there that you didn't get a chance to talk about?
I really like the Prairie School. They're well coached. Of course, they have J.J. Barnes, who's the Marquette commit, but they have Meg Decker, who's a star soccer player. They're just a well-oiled machine. All 5 play as one. And then the second string comes in, and they don't miss a beat. So they're my favorite team, and I'm looking forward to watching.
Yeah, and I definitely have to second that because they've been there. And, you know, those games, those years they didn't get to state, they had to deal with Laconia. So, I mean, they're ready to go, and they're very hungry. And we talked about all those other teams being hungry. I guarantee the Prairie School is ready to try to get that gold ball.
All right, the fun does not stop here. We'll be back next Sunday at the same time for the WIAA Boys Basketball State Tournament Bracket Reveal Show, followed by the Individual Wrestling State Tournament Bracket Reveal Show. That will air on Catchy Comedy, the Dot 2 station. Or if you're looking where to stream the show, visit the WIAA's website at WIAAWI.org. Thank you both so much for being here with me. Quickly, favorite thing about March?
March Madness, March Magic, anything could happen.
Yeah, March Madness. I mean, and my birthday. So
yes, happy early birthday.
Yeah.
All right, thank you both so much. And thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next week for the Boys Basketball Reveal Show.